Empathy without iron boundaries is pure biological suicide. Society programmed a massive lie into your brain. They taught you that extreme kindness is a virtue. They conditioned you to be an emotional sponge. This is a fatal mathematical trap. Covert narcissists actively scan environments for this exact trait. They do not admire your good heart. They see a completely unprotected energy vault. They see a host. When you constantly absorb their toxic emotions, you expose a fragile ego. You hand them complete control over your central nervous system. The elite top 1% completely reject this dangerous identity. They operate on a highly classified behavioral framework. This invisible mental firewall permanently starves emotional parasites. Window to decode this psychological exploit is closing rapidly. If you fail to install this system today, your social status will be permanently erased tomorrow. By the exact end of this video, the classified blueprint will be fully exposed. You will stop bleeding biological power. You will cut the invisible strings. You will command absolute respect in any room. Pay absolute attention to every single word. Do not blink. Your reality is about to shatter. Every time you feel someone else's pain, you spend energy. Your empathy is a finite biological currency. Weak individuals spend this currency desperately. They want to heal everyone around them. They absorb the heavy trauma of toxic friends. They carry the manufactured chaos of manipulative partners. This is not high spiritual intelligence. This is clinical psychological cowardice. Your brain associates social abandonment with physical death. This is an ancient, outdated evolutionary glitch. Thousands of years ago, tribal rejection meant literal starvation. Today, that glitch turns you into a complete social puppet. You are performing a silent surrender daily. The predator sitting across the table sees reality clearly. They see a nervous victim begging for validation. Every time you fix their manufactured problems, you leak status. You are actively draining your own biological battery. You are voluntarily walking into a dark cage. You are locking the door yourself. You give them the key willingly. They did not earn your precious energy. Your ego simply begs for safety. Their ego happily consumes your fear. This toxic biological dynamic ends right now. The dark psychology of covert narcissists. The dark psychology of covert narcissists is terrifying. They are entirely different from normal human beings. They do not possess a self-sustaining emotional core. They operate on a severe deficit of internal energy. They must constantly harvest validation from external sources. They are literal biological parasites. But a parasite cannot attach to thick, heavy armor. They must find a severe emotional vulnerability. They must find an open wound. Your unprotected empathy is their favorite backdoor exploit. Covert narcissists understand this system perfectly. They do not attack you with open aggression. That would trigger your defensive instincts immediately. Instead, they weaponize pure pity against you. They manufacture constant emotional chaos. They play the helpless victim flawlessly. They want you to feel incredibly bad for them. They project their toxic misery onto your clean conscience. Your outdated evolutionary programming panics immediately. You feel an intense rush of artificial responsibility. You rush to fix their manufactured pain. You offer endless emotional support to stop the tension. This is exactly what the predator wanted all along. They successfully hacked your central nervous system. They bypassed your logic, using pure emotional manipulation. You traded your sovereign power for their emotional relief. You fed the parasite your valuable life force. They learn that manufactured sadness controls your actions perfectly. They will press this button every single day. Your reality becomes permanently warped by their endless demands. You constantly feel exhausted for absolutely no reason. This is intentional psychological warfare. They project their toxicity onto your clean slate. You carry their heavy emotional baggage willingly. You lose your mind trying to save theirs. This ends today. Why predators actively hunt nice people. Predators do not select their victims at random. They execute highly systematic predatory selection daily. They actively hunt the people-pleaser identity. Empathy is a highly valuable biological resource. Highly empathetic people have an endless supply of it, but they have absolutely zero defensive structures. This makes them the ultimate biological target. An empathetic person cannot sit in an uncomfortable void. They are terrified of unresolved social tension. Manipulators create this tension entirely on purpose. They give you the silent treatment randomly. They withdraw their affection suddenly without explanation. They watch your limbic system completely melt down. You frantically search for a logical reason. You automatically assume you did something terribly wrong. You offer massive emotional support to restore fake harmony. Predator wins without firing a single shot. They prove they control your internal reality completely. You are no longer an independent human being. You are an extension of their fragile, broken ego. They will systematically push your boundaries much further. They will ask for larger, highly unreasonable favors. They will disrespect your time blatantly in public. They know you will never actually leave them. Your biological addiction to helping others traps you entirely. You will endure endless psychological abuse just to help. You do this simply to avoid feeling guilty. This is not a real friendship or relationship. This is clinical emotional parasitism. They are draining your internal bank account of energy. You are funding their massive narcissistic supply daily. They do not love your genuine kindness. They love your complete inability to walk away. You are a bottomless well of free validation. They will drink greedily until you are entirely dry. They will discard you instantly when you break. Stop exactly what you are doing right now. The behavioral trap I am about to expose is destroying your future today. If you do not decode this specific psychological exploit in the next 60 seconds, your identity will be permanently erased by manipulators. The window to protect your mind is shutting. Pay absolute attention. Do not blink. Human behavior behind emotional parasitism. To survive, you must dissect emotional parasitism. The human behavior behind this dynamic is mathematically predictable. Parasites seek the path of least biological resistance. They test your armor with microscopic infractions. They drop a subtle complaint about their terrible life. They wait to see your physical reaction. If you lean in, nod, and offer immediate help, the biological ping returns a positive signal. The system registers a massive vulnerability. They establish a permanent energetic pipeline into your mind. You become their designated emotional sponge. You absorb their toxic stress effortlessly. They feel lighter, energized, and completely refreshed. You feel heavy, depressed, and entirely drained. This transaction is entirely one-sided by explicit design. They never ask about your actual problems. If you share your pain, they quickly change the subject. Your pain does not feed their narcissistic supply. Only their pain matters in this twisted hierarchy. They keep you in a constant state of emotional emergency. You are always putting out their manufactured fires. This prevents you from building your own successful life. You are entirely distracted by their endless drama. They steal your focus, your drive, and your ambition. Emotional parasitism is a silent, invisible killer. It does not leave physical bruises on your body. It leaves massive craters in your central nervous system. You must recognize this dangerous dynamic immediately. Your empathy is being weaponized against your basic survival. You are actively funding your own psychological destruction. You must close the vault. How your boundaries bleed social status. Every time you forgive toxic behavior, you bleed. Your weak boundaries bleed massive amounts of social status. You think you are taking the high road constantly. You believe forgiveness proves your superior emotional maturity. This is a devastating lie designed to keep you docile. In the unforgiving realm of dark psychology, extreme patience is weakness. When you ignore disrespect to maintain the fake peace, you are not keeping any actual peace. You are taking the pathetic path of least resistance. The entire social hierarchy absorbs this data instantly. By refusing to challenge their toxic disrespect, you teach everyone in the room how cheap you are. You hand the predator a verified instruction manual. It shows them exactly how to dismantle your self-esteem. Fake maturity is the excuse weak individuals use. It justifies their complete inability to fight back. It is the story you tell yourself to sleep. But the cold calculus of power dynamics registers absolute submission. Every unearned second chance physically lowers your hierarchy ranking. You are instantly categorized as completely safe to exploit. The group will treat you accordingly forever. When you constantly adjust your posture to accommodate them, when you allow them to break promises without heavy consequences, you forcefully lower your own social status. Manipulators test your boundaries through calculated microaggressions. A sudden change in plans that severely inconveniences you. A backhanded compliment disguised as a friendly joke. The polite habit is to ignore these strict infractions. But ignoring disrespect is surrendering your sovereign territory. You are actively funding their disrespect with your silence. The exact sign you are being manipulated. You must recognize the exact sign of manipulation. The ultimate red flag is deep biological confusion. Manipulators hack your perception of objective reality. They execute a strategy known as the boundary creep. It begins with tiny, almost imperceptible boundary violations. Once they know you cannot say no to small things, They systematically escalate the psychological pressure. The favors become much larger and highly demanding. The jokes become significantly more insulting and cruel. The disrespect becomes blatant and entirely public. The predator is slowly moving the goalposts of your reality, testing exactly how much abuse your nervous system tolerates. Another lethal test is the selective amnesia protocol. They promise you something or agree to a rule, then they conveniently forget it ever happened. When you try to remind them of the objective truth, they watch your biological reaction very closely. If you back down immediately and doubt your memory, because they feign total ignorance and innocence, they realize they can successfully gaslight you forever. They have completely hacked your perception of reality. You failed the scan because you trusted their manufactured confusion. You trusted their lies over your own concrete memory. This is the exact moment they completely own you. You constantly feel like you are walking on eggshells. You analyze every single word before you speak. You are terrified of triggering their unpredictable anger. This chronic anxiety is the exact sign of manipulation. Your nervous system knows you are under heavy attack. Stop ignoring your biological warning signals. The confusion is intentional. The exhaustion is the goal. You are standing at the absolute edge. The psychological armor I am about to hand you is the only thing capable of blinding the predator's radar. If you close this video before mastering this exact behavioral shift, you will wake up tomorrow as the exact same obedient prey. The elite guard this secret ruthlessly. Do not miss this. The elite top 1% operate completely differently. They possess an impenetrable defense against emotional manipulation. Elite operators never fail this silent empathy test. They fundamentally reject the people-pleaser identity today. They have ruthlessly purged the biological need for validation. When a manipulator attempts to play the helpless victim, the elite operator does not rush to fix the tension. They do not offer a nervous, comforting smile. They do not offer endless emotional support. They execute the most terrifying response in human behavior: absolute, unblinking, cold stillness. They let the awkwardness hang heavy in the air. They force the predator to sit in their own discomfort. Elite operators understand a brutal mathematical law. Whoever breaks the silence first loses the power dynamic. By remaining completely neutral and unaffected entirely, the elite operator reverses the psychological scan instantly. The manipulator's brain suddenly short-circuits. They expected desperate empathy. They received a cold, terrifying void. They expected blind compliance. They hit an unbreakable concrete wall. This cold observation proves their psychological tricks are useless. The elite do not fight back emotionally ever. Anger is just another form of biological submission. Instead, they offer boring, sovereign indifference. They pass the test because they refuse the game. To permanently protect your energy, build an untouchable aura. Slow down your biological rhythm drastically. Move your hands with deliberate, calculated intention. Let your eye contact become a weapon of pure observation. Look at them as if collecting cold data. Do not show emotion. The era of being a quiet, scanned victim ends. Reclaiming your power dynamics requires ruthless, immediate execution. You must physically cut the invisible strings of manipulation. Delete your automatic empathy for toxic people today. Erase the constant desire to heal broken narcissists. Let them scream wildly. Let them thrash helplessly. Let them accuse you of being cold and heartless. Their frustration is the ultimate proof of your success. Your new psychological armor is working perfectly. You do not require their permission to hold your ground. You are no longer a sponge for their endless toxicity. You are a massive, impenetrable concrete wall. The invisible rules of human behavior have been entirely exposed. The classified blueprint to absolute sovereignty is in your hands, but theory without ruthless execution is the definition of cowardice. If you go back to over-empathizing tomorrow morning, you have actively volunteered to remain permanent prey. If you are ready to hold the heavy void, protect your energy vault, reclaim your ultimate social power, subscribe and hit the bell immediately. We are arming the elite. Break the scan, master the silence, become completely untouchable, evolve today, dominate tomorrow.